Alright, so moving on to the magic and trap cards, here is one of the staples.
The second half of the deck.
Of this entire deck, which is Toll and Troll.
Toll.
So we got the Troll part, which is the monsters that can't be destroyed by battle, and then the reason it's called Toll and Troll is because of Toll. Toll is a continuous spell card where you have to pay, both players have to pay 500 life points in order to attack with a monster.
But you're not going to be attacking.
Yeah, considering this deck almost exclusively never attacks. Never ever. It's all up to your opponent to be paying the life points for attacking monsters that can't be destroyed multiple times, so they have to keep attacking. And eventually, if you do it right, or if you get lucky, basically, your opponent ends up taking so much life point damage just from trying to attack your monsters that they can't do anything. To help that out, though, we've got our burn. So we've got things like Mirage Tube, so that when your face-up monster is selected as attack target, you activate this, and you inflict damage to your opponent equal to 1,000. You can activate it from your hand, but you really don't need to.
Yeah, I don't know why they made that a spell card. That doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
They may as well have just made it a trap.
I
guess they don't want it getting trap stunned or something.
Well,
I guess that's one of the bonuses.
Doesn't really matter.
Royal Decree doesn't touch it.
We got Wave Motion Cannon, so...
Best burn in the deck.
One of them.
One of the best burns in the deck,
so
in my
obviously,
opinion.
You send this to the graveyard. It's a continuous spell card. You send it to the graveyard to inflict damage to your opponent equal to the number of standby phases that have gone by of yours after it's activated, times 1,000.
Wait 8 turns, you win.
Pretty much, if you can manage it. We got Misfortune. Basically, your monsters can't attack this turn, but you get to select one monster on your opponent's side of the field and inflict damage to your opponent equal to half of its original attack. So just a little bit of that burn.
It's not like you're going to be attacking anyways.
Exactly. We got Just Desert. This is a good one because
Old school.
Generally, your opponent's monsters are going to be piling up eventually. And Just Desserts gives you 500 damage for each monster your opponent controls. So there you go. Magic Cylinder. This one's always fun.
Take that, Red Nova.
Especially when your opponent has like a big monster out there and they have like
Red Archfiend about to blow up all of your stuff.
Well, that's one thing. But say they have like 2 monsters and you got your Mimul out there.
You don't want that thing dying.
Your opponent attacks with one of them and then they attack with the second one. You activate Magic Cylinder
to the face.
And then they have to attack it all over again next turn. Then we got another one of our best burn cards, Ceasefire.
I lost to that.
Every single monster pretty much in this deck is an effect monster, and they stay on the field for a while, and your opponent's monsters are going to be getting a lot of them on the field, and a lot of them are going to be effects, so
you can get 5,000
because it
points of burn.
Because it does 500 damage for each effect monster on the field, and it flips them face up without activating flip effects, so you gotta be careful about that, but generally this deck doesn't have a lot of flips, so it's okay. Let's see.
Stop Psycho.
We got a little bit of stall in this deck as well.
Stall.
We got monster recovery just in case, like, sometimes I use it for when my opponent is attacking one of my monsters for the second time it's going to be destroyed, activate monster recovery, and get it back. Because you add one monster of yours back on top of the deck, and then you add your hand to the deck, shuffle, and draw the same number of cards as were in your hand. So it can also just, in general, help you get those cards that you want out of your deck. It saved me a couple of times. We got Threatening Roar, just in case your opponent's already blown up a lot of your monsters or something.
Or you just want to get a second one out there.
Yeah, I mean,
before, like, turn 1, set
Threatening Roar just helps you keep your monsters out on the field and keep you from taking damage by stopping your opponent from attacking for 1 turn. We got Super Junior Confrontation. This one's always a fun one. So, say your opponent has like 5 monsters and you have like 1, as long as it's face up, in defense position. This is what happens. Say your opponent attacks with one of his highest attack position monsters. Super Junior Confrontation makes it so that it negates that whatever battle when your opponent attacks, and then your opponent's face-up attack position monster with the lowest attack has to attack your face-up defense position monster with the lowest defense. And then after that, the battle phase is over. So because of that, especially since most of my monsters are not destroyed by battle once, then Super Junior Confrontation basically makes it so that nothing happens. Which is beautiful. Waste that turn. Just one more. Ojama Trio.
I hate
more
that card.
trolling.
I hate that card so much.
So, special summon 3 Ojama tokens. Yeah.
I lost because of that card.
Onto my opponent's side of the field. And they can't be attributed for a tribute summon. They're level 2. Basically, they're Ojamas. They have 0 attack, 1000 defense, light beast type. And your opponent takes 300 damage when they're destroyed. Although, I have to admit, that doesn't happen very often when I'm using them. Because, in general, if your opponent uses 2 monsters, and then you activate this card, and they have no tuners out there, then basically, unless they can do something, this kind of landlocks them, and they get kind of stuck, and they can't do much with the Ojama.
That happened with me.
Yep, and sometimes
Made
it wins.
me so mad because then they can only attack with 2, and if you have a shield wing out, they can't kill it
Exactly.
unless they get some sort of removal.
Let's see. Then we got some general destruction just to
Typhoon,
help me keep going. We got Mystical Space Typhoon, destroy one of your opponent's magic trap cards.
Staple,
We got
Hammer Shot,
which
Squish.
destroys the highest attack position monster on the field, which, considering most of my monsters will be in defense mode, it doesn't really affect me too much.
It's the opposite of Fissure, basically.
Which is my next card. Fissure.
Speaking of
destroys
which,
your opponent's face of monster with the lowest attack, which can also generally be good. Then we got this one. This one's fun. People sometimes hate this card when I use it because Ecobio Dracmord is an equip card. And the way it works is you equip this spell card to one of your opponent's monsters, and it can't attack while it's equipped with this card. And then, to make matters worse, at the end phase of the second turn of the monster, the player. Okay, let me phrase that. After the second turn of the player who controls the monster that this card is equipped to, so generally your opponent, that monster is destroyed, and this card returns to my hand. So basically, then I can use it again.
It's kind of like a plague, basically.
So
it kills stuff
you
off.
stop your opponent's attack with one monster for 2 turns, and then it destroys it, and you add this card back to your hand and use it again. Alright, and then we got, to make things more interesting, we got our negation. We got My Body's a Shield, because destruction is one of the weak points of this deck. If your opponent has cards that can keep destroying your monsters, so they don't have to attack them,
Red Archfiend.
It fails. Yeah,
Red Archfiend kills that deck.
Oh man, it's sad when that happens. But My Body's a Shield,
Pulse.
by paying 1,500 life points of yours, you can negate the activation of a card that would destroy one of your monsters, and destroy that card.
Really nice.
So it can save you a lot. Then we got Royal Oppression. That's just for fun.
That's amazing.
Because this deck, generally, all you do is just you set a monster and then set some cards and then end your turn. And then keep doing that over and over. So Royal Oppression is to make it so that if my opponent is special summoning, like Synchro Summoning or something like that,
Blackwings,
I can try and get rid of them. And because this deck, if I'm facing the right opponent, this deck often doesn't take a lot of life point damage for a while. Royal Oppression can be helpful because I don't have to worry so much about my life points, and I can get rid of my opponent's monsters. And then we got Divine Wrath. Divine Wrath, you discard 1 card, and it's a counter trap card. So you negate the activation of an effect monster's effect and destroy that monster. The thing is that this can't activate on continuous effects, but that's okay, because most of the time I don't have to worry about those kind of effects. Now this card is one of many cards in this deck that I can swap out for lots of other things, because you want to keep your opponent guessing as to what you have next. So I've got more of a side pile than a side deck. I've got things like No Entry,
Seven Tools,
Bandit, DNA Checkup. This is a fun card because this deck has a lot of different attributes. It's got Earth, Light, it's got Dark, it's got Wind, it's got all sorts of stuff.
It's got everything, really.
And since I play them all face down anyway,
they can't see.
DNA Checkup is just a funny card to play. It's just fun to see what happens.
See what
so
they guess.
You select one of your face down monsters, and then your opponent guesses 2 attributes that it might be, and if they get it right, they draw 2 cards. If they get it wrong, you draw 2 cards. It's just a fun card to play. What else do we have? We got Trap Hole. We got Remote Revenge to try and keep your monster from being destroyed. Another Junk Sink run. The Dark Door. This one, I felt kind of bad about this one. And anyway, it keeps me from getting as much damage out from Toll. So, but if you play the Dark Door, since your opponent can only attack with one monster, for the most part they can't destroy any of yours. It's kind of funny that way. Princess Tsurugi, this is a new one that I'm going to add to it because it does burn damage. Kiseitai, I had this one in there for a while. This one's fun because it's meant to be played face down just like the rest of your monsters, and when they attack it, it gets equipped to that monster instead, and then you gain life points equal to half of its attack during each of your opponent's standby phases, I believe. Cosmic Compass, this one, because your opponent often has like a lot of monsters. When you normal summon this one, you special summon Cosmic Tokens, or Compass Tokens, I mean, that
tokens
equal to the number of monsters that your opponent controls. So it can just be like a big monster to get out a random amount of tokens when you have no monsters, but it's not as good as some of my other ones. Deskawala, this one does more burn.
Ordeal of the Traveler.
I tried this out one time, but it doesn't really work that well in this deck, sadly. I guess it's because I usually don't get it until the point where I basically have no hand.
Yeah.
So it's not as helpful as I was hoping it would be. Starlight Road, this one's
great.
fun. Just to make sure that you don't get destroyed. Gravity Bind, I thought about playing this one. I haven't played it yet, though, because I want my opponent to attack.
Yeah, true.
Grave Projector, this makes it so that your monsters are returned to the deck when they're destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard. But I generally can't keep it out long enough to actually use its effects, so oh well. Desert Sunlight, that's just for defensive stuff. Dark Hole, Swords, Magical Arm Shield, that one's a funny one, it's a troll. Magic Drain, you know.
Magic Drain is good again for some reason.
Just lots of funny stuff. Mask of Darkness
gets that
some more flip effects, you know, just to keep your opponent guessing.
Burn.
We got some burn, Stray Lambs I thought about playing. Secret Barrel with some more burn, Misfortune. Saku, Draining Shield.
Draining Shield's good.
Smashing Ground, another Kiseitai, Magic Jammer. Poison the Old Man, I thought about playing for a while. Earthquake. Straight Flush, I've been thinking about playing. This one's funny because
Straight Flush.
It doesn't always happen. For some reason, people don't always play against this deck where they just keep setting Magic and Trap cards, but sometimes it happens. So I thought about playing Straight Flush for a while because when they have 5 Magic and Trap cards on their side of the field, you can activate this to destroy them all. But you know, this deck is one of those kind of decks where you can just do lots of switching around just to keep your opponent guessing. So if you guys hear the word Totem Troll, it's from me, J-Rad. So
built by him.
Keep me in mind. If you're gonna make it, you know, say you got the idea from J-Rad.
Team NWO.
So keep doing, guys. See you later.